Hey there folks, Rambling Collector here with another Halloween 2023 review for all of you today. And for this video, we're going to be diving into another horror literature classic, that being American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. Now this one was actually recommended to me a while back by a subscriber of mine, Nanashi. And dude, if you're watching this video right now, I apologize that it's taken me so long to finally finish this novel. However, I figured the time of spooky season would be the best time to talk about this particular novel. And for those of you who have seen the movie or have not read the book, let me at least read to you the synopsis for it. Patrick Bateman is handsome, well-educated, intelligent. He works by day on Wall Street, earning a fortune to complement the one he was born with. His nights he spends in ways we cannot begin to fathom. He is 26 years old and living his own American dream. Now, I will say this much about this novel. It definitely was intriguing to think about because psychological horror is definitely something I am more keen on. But this one in particular absolutely blew me away. Because with Patrick Bateman as the main antagonistic character, well, I take that back. He's protagonistic, but he is not a good character, okay? The fact is, with Patrick Bateman going through this, we see him living out his days on Wall Street, getting rich, working hard, and investing in so many meetings and everything else, while also working out, living his daily life, right? And what I'm assuming is possibly the 1980s or 1990s, judging by the eras of technology, with things such as Walkmans and vinyl records, I want to say. As well as the fact that VHS is still around in this book here. But, with that being said, I will say this much. This novel in particular, I had a lot of issues with. For the main thing being that it feels slow, in my personal opinion. I don't know why, but it did. There were times it would pick up in rapid-fire pace, but other times it felt like it was slowing to a crawl. And I think the main reason for that is because of the main point-of-view character himself, that being Pat Bateman. Now, Bateman is honestly a pretty interesting character in his own right, but it's more or less about dissecting him as a character, if I may, because a lot of times I notice things such as the fact that he is narcissistic, with heavy focus upon himself, sociopathic, and the fact that he never really notices the people around him or even bothers to connect with them emotionally, or the fact that he simply does not feel any emotional attachment to them. And if he does, it's a very limited, a very limited reach, if I may. He is very materialistic, a lot of psychopathic tendencies, like, don't even joke about that. And honestly, I thought he might have had a little bit of OCD in there as well. Just some hints of it here and there. But regardless, though, Pat Bateman as a character was not someone I particularly liked. I'm sorry, I really didn't. I did not. It just felt so slow going through this novel, which is why I'm making this video on camera compared to my normal presentations, because this one took me a couple of weeks to finish. But I will say, one fascinating aspect of it that I did notice was that Bateman, if you read the novel carefully, it feels like he is slowly degenerating in a way. Because over the course of the novel, we see how he is at first very open to the world around him, but as he keeps going, it feels like his mind is degrading to a rapid degree, where he can no longer control his urges to a simple, like, once a night or within a few weeks or things like that. It becomes an obsessive compulsion to him that he needs to fill that obsession of killing, of murder. And he goes about it in some of the most over-the-top ways. Torture is something I am not... What's the word I'm looking for? That I am no stranger to, okay? I've seen tortures in fantasy, a little bit of sci-fi, a little bit of everything like that. But what Pat Bateman does is straight up sadistic to the point that it is borderline horrific, and it actually made me ill a few times, not gonna lie. And I definitely noticed that Pat has a lot of compulsions to violence, with things such as one time when he and a lover of his, Evelyn, are mentioning about getting married. She's going off on tangents about inviting people and all that stuff. And what does he bring up? Bringing an AK-47 to mow the crowd down. Really? That, and also looking at a woman and just going, the things I could do to you with a coat hanger. I'm like, wow, dude, do you even hear yourself at times? And it's funny because at some points he gets so incredibly nervous thinking, oh crap, I've been caught, I'm about to get arrested. But there's a lot that I don't really see with his backstory. For instance, it's implied that his family is very, very rich to the point that he doesn't have to work, but he wants to blend in and be like everybody else. It's a confusing kind of flip-flop in a way. At least to me. Because with him, I notice how he just steadily degrades over time. Hell, but it gets to the point that he is investing in necrophilia and cannibalism of all things. So it gets to the point that it's unrealistic or just flat out disturbing. I really don't understand that. I really don't. And with this book being exactly 399 pages, again, it felt like a slog, especially with the constant, what's the word I'm looking for, descriptive details about what exactly these people are wearing, from things like popular brands such as Ralph Lauren or Polo or Rolexes or Walkmans or things like that. I'm just sitting here reading all of this, and don't get me wrong, I like it when a book actually pays attention to detail, but not to this degree. But then again, it's probably because of Pat Bateman's materialistic mindset, where he's more focused on what exactly these people are wearing so that he can judge them based on how expensive their tastes are. And the funny thing is, he flips out about a $50 bill for a food, yet he's willing to pay a $2,000 gym membership. Like, dude, nothing is worth that much of a gym membership. That better be one of the best gyms in all of existence for you to pay that much on a year. $2,000 annually. Really? Who pays that much for a gym membership anymore? Hell, a lot of times you hear people paying like $60 and more for gym memberships nowadays, and that's still overpriced. And I've got to say, I think one of the best parts of it, though, was when they addressed Patrick in the third person, in my personal opinion. There is a moment where he just seems so out of touch with himself that he refers to himself in the third person, after blatantly just going off and targeting somebody, a random saxophone player, who is just sitting there playing his tunes, and Pat walks up to him with a gun, blasts him in the middle of broad daylight, right in front of a crowd, and then is forced to run on a police chase. As this is going on, it refers to Patrick in the third person, of how he's running around, dodging all these things, getting into a car, swerving around after blasting the cabbie's head off, things like that. And at one point it has him full-on confessing to somebody about all the actions that he has taken. All the murders that he's committed, the gruesome crimes he has done. And yet, when he confronts the person about it later, this guy that he sent the voice message to doesn't believe him, because it feels so out of character with what they believe is Pat Bateman. They believe that Patrick Bateman is a brown-noser who just sucks up and is too good of a person to ever commit murders like that. He has done so well at crafting a public image of himself that is far beyond what his own mentality is, that people just find it unbelievable that he himself would commit such heinous crimes as that. And it goes into some graphic detail with some of the stuff he does to some of these women that he picks up. And by God, it was disturbing. Like, I've read some blood and gore, but this, it makes it into where he uses torture and brutality as an art form. Hell, it really went into detail about how he was experiencing his first time with cannibalism, diving into somebody's intestines and then making sausage out of this person's meat. I'm like, really? Was this really necessary? I honestly don't know how to feel about American Psycho right now. I really don't. Because I read some messed up stuff. With stuff like Twisted Justice and Unleashed by E.O. Jefferson. But I don't think they went into as much detail as American Psycho did with Bret Easton Ellis. Though I will say, he is a good writer, and I might need to check out some of his other works, but American Psycho is definitely one that I was not prepared for in any way, shape, or form. And I might need to check out the movie for this sometime. I don't know. Maybe it just might read better as a movie than a novel, because the novel goes into a lot of detail that slogs it out a lot. Regardless, though, I feel like I can possibly give this one either a 6 or 7 out of 10, if I'm being completely honest. Just because of the dragged out pacing, as well as the total coin flips of whenever Patrick Bateman snaps. And to be quite honest with you guys, I will say it was finally fun to actually tackle this classic novel. And if you all like my opinion on this, feel free to let me know. If you like this video, subscribe if you're curious for more, or lend me some other suggestions. And Nanashi, thank you for recommending this classic novel to me. I'm sorry that it took me so long to finally get to it, and I hope you enjoyed the review. And to all of you who are tuning in for Halloween, happy Halloween, and I will see you again in the next video.